You can commute with them. You can track ride them if you want to. You can stunt them. I don't like going super fast. I like life. Rip it and fucking rip it, boys! Dude, if you're just gonna use a 1000 just to do highway shit, fuck that, man. I want a 1000 because I can stay in first everywhere I fucking go. Alright, fellas, ladies, gentlemen, good morning. It is 8:30. We are on our way to work once again. Chilly this morning, but it's gonna warm up really nice, so the ride home will be awesome. I'm super excited, dude. It's gonna be like 55. Anywho, today I wanted to talk about kind of how much bike do you really need? I think a lot of guys overestimate how much bike they need and end up getting a fucking leader bike, or shit, even a 600, when they really don't need it. And I guess it kind of depends on what you want to do, right? If you're just trying to putt around, maybe you live in a really big, busy city, something like New York or hell, even Chicago. If you're not looking to really do a whole lot of highway riding, I wouldn't say you really even need anything bigger than a Grom or a 300. You know, you can have plenty of fun on those things, and you don't need to kill yourself or break the bank in order to do it. I'm just gonna do one of those. Now, if you're gonna be doing some more highway riding, you know, a 300 might be kind of tough, but you can certainly do it. A Grom, if you're doing a lot of highway miles, it's probably just not the best move. I'm kind of the opinion that having a faster bike, slightly faster bike, isn't necessarily always a bad thing. There's so many times where you need to speed up to avoid a situation. If you're watching a lot of beginner rider videos, go watch Dan the Fireman. He talks about that Cybertruck. He talks about that a lot. You know, he'll go over accident videos, and you can see that when someone needs to speed up to avoid an accident is somewhat common. So if you're on a Grom or a little bike and you're doing highway stuff, like, you can't gas it out of certain situations. On a bike like this, though, you can. Now, does that mean that a 600 or a 1000 is the best bike for everybody? Not at all. I think people severely underestimate the power that an inline 4 has, and it's something that honestly I've had to get used to. Like, yeah, I've had plenty of experience with 600s and 1000s in the past, but I got so used to riding my FZ, I wasn't used to having a bike that could rev out to 15,000 RPM. I was used to a bike that was super torquey down low versus torquey up top, which gets a little hairy sometimes if you're not careful with the throttle. But that kind of leads me to my next point. Man, 650s and 700s, you really can't go wrong with, because I think they're kind of the perfect bike for anybody, regardless of what you want to do. You can commute with them, you can track ride them if you want to, you can stunt them. You know, they're cheap to insure, cheap to maintain. You know, not that these bikes aren't, but man, I mean, my insurance doubled on this thing compared to my FZ07, because this is classified as a super sport and the FZ isn't, right? So stuff like that you got to kind of consider. I think 650s are in a really nice spot where, you know, I've said this plenty of times on this channel before, but they are easy to learn, hard to master kind of thing, where anyone can start out riding them, and you can have just as much fun on them when you're, you know, a seasoned rider. Because then you start getting into, oh, how do I wheelie this thing? How do I drop it back? How do I like corner it super well? You know, if you jump straight to a bike like this, man, it's a harder learning curve. So, I mean, to make a short story long, I think really the most amount of bike that anyone needs is a 650 or a 700. I think the R7, the Aprilia RS660s, fantastic bikes, right? And I'm saying that not because of the CCs, more so the parallel twins, right? Now, if you're looking at like a Triumph, like a Daytona, that it's a different animal, right? Because it's not an inline 2, it's an inline 3. So if that's the case, why do people buy 1000s and 600s? Well, for me, the reason why I bought this thing was because the 636 is the goated stunt bike. You can't get a better stunt bike than a 636. The amount of aftermarket parts for it, the amount of buddies I have that ride 636s and are familiar with them, the reliability of a Japanese bike, you know, it's kind of unparalleled. And it's just a different experience than riding a different experience than riding, you know, an FZ or an R7. Scoot myself up here. Whoop. Granted, I haven't even stunted this thing out yet, but to me, like, this is such an upgrade compared to my FZ, because it's just it's a different style of riding, and I'm excited to be able to learn and master that. Not that I mastered my FZ by any means at all. I was still big squidding on my FZ, but it was something I got familiar with and wanted to switch it up a little bit. And this will probably be my forever bike, if I'm being completely honest. Sure, I'd love to have an S1K or an R1 or something like that, but you know, as far as like main bike that I'm going to be doing most of my riding on, it's going to be this thing. I don't care how many times I have to rebuild the motor or whatever. Now, when it comes to 1000s, for me, the appeal of a 1000 isn't necessarily like a top speed or a horsepower rating. I don't really care about that kind of stuff, because I don't like going super fast. I think that's how people die, and I like life. But what I like about a 1000 is, for me, when I had a Fireblade for a little while, it was an old one, it was super easy to ride. What I mean by that is because it has so much horsepower and so much torque, like, dude, I can get anywhere I needed to in first, second. Like, I think the most I really ever got it to is like fourth on the highway. You know, it still rang out super high like a 600, but it had a lot of the torque of a 650, so it's kind of a cool medium in that case. The problem with it is that you can go 170, 180 miles an hour even on an old 1000. I don't really think most people need that. I don't need that. Fucking rip it, boys! See, like, that's all I fucking need. I don't need anything faster than that. It's unnecessary for my kind of riding. So I don't think most people need a 1000. If you want to track it, go ahead, be my guest. But other than that, like, dude, if you're just gonna use a 1000 just to do highway shit, fuck that, man. I want a 1000 because I can stay in first everywhere I fucking go. Also, you know, I think it'd be just badass to, like, quote unquote stunt ride a S1000. I think it's so cool watching guys like Brian or Jigsaw Ride just like drop back on a 1K. That's so sick to me. Something I'd love to be able to do, especially with a stock bike. That's so sick. So, I mean, really, if you're looking to get a new bike or you're getting into things, I've said this so many times before, just start on a 650, bro. And if you're a smaller person, maybe you're a young lady, start on a 300. There's no pain in doing that. You know, you might want to sell your 300 pretty soon and get a 650, but like, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with taking your time. And I'm pretty sure once you're gonna get a 660 or a 700, whatever it is, like, I mean, I had my FZ for years, and this was after I already had experience with 600s and 1000s, and I still loved that bike so much more than them. I had so much more fun on it for such a long time until I was truly ready to move on. So, I don't know, that's kind of my conclusion to why I think that's kind of the biggest bike that most people need. Getting a 1000 won't make you happier. Getting a 660, getting a 600 won't make you happier, right? It's all relative. But having that speed is really just, sometimes it's a good thing because I can get through traffic quicker. I can get out of bad situations quicker. Sometimes it's a bad thing because that means I can also get myself into trouble quicker. So it really just depends on how much you're going to ride and what kind of riding you're going to do. But as long as you're not riding like a dumbass, you'll probably be fine no matter what it is. Anywho, I'm freezing cold. I love you guys. Do all the YouTube stuff. Click the buttons. Click the fucking like button. Share the video with your dumbass friends. Yeah. See you guys later. Peace.